let's go into what you do at UCB, because I am curious what everybody like knows of the artistic director.
Sure.
Break it down a little bit what you do.
So I guess the primary part of my job is booking shows and casting all the teams. So basically, if you're on stage at UCB at either of the theaters, the Sunset Theater, the Franklin Theater, it would go through me at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certainly shows that have been running well before I got there, and so I've continue to keep certain shows running that I didn't book. But yeah, for the most part, it's booking all the shows. So. There's a couple of different ways. Of course, most people know about the improv side of things. The Herald track is like very, is sort of the thing that most people know about in terms of becoming a performer at UCB. So those are improv teams. So we hold those auditions once a year, and that's like, 800 people come in and audition, and we put, 8 teams together, and then we do the same thing for sketch, and those are called our mod teams. And there are 8 of those teams as well. We just had those auditions. That's once a year. And then Mess Hall, which is like a sort of an incubator for Herald. So those are all the sort of teams. And then, people will pitch shows. They'll audition shows for me. And so I'll go watch shows and decide, whether or not it's a fit for the theater, give notes, maybe have them try it again, that kind of stuff. So, and then the character teams as well, yeah.
Do you view your job more creatively or administratively?
Honestly, I think it's a pretty good balance.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
was really worried coming into the job that it would feel more administrative, but the first thing I did when my first day in the job in September was the first day of Herald auditions for the year. And I never did the improv track, really. I mean, I did improv classes back in the day, and I will jump into improv shows, but I didn't. I did the sketch and character track sort of myself as a performer. And so I never auditioned for Herald. I never did any of that. So it was kind of a wild experience to dive into with the first 5 days being like 800 people auditioning for me for something I didn't audition for, But that was where I realized like, oh yeah, this job can definitely be really rewarding in a really cool, unique way. And that like I get to, bring people in who are new and young and like be an advocate for really awesome, talented up and coming performers. So in that side, I definitely see it, as certainly creative and working with people who are, wanting to be creative, which is awesome.
Absolutely. I've had people on this podcast that came up through New York.
Yeah.
And
I came up through New York, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
And so many people referenced how Seth Morris was the artistic director at the time and really gave them Wait, was it Seth Morris? He was the first one in LA that
I think he was LA, yeah.
But he was really good about like giving people opportunities and then passing them on to other people to expand outside of UCB.
Totally, yeah.
And so I feel like you do have an opportunity to really curate and craft the next generation.
Yeah, which is really, really cool. And I will say
very
curate and craft. Like
Christine
a toast
Bullen.
or something. Yeah, like Bullen. I'll never forget like what a huge difference the artistic director in New York made for me when I was coming up.
Which one was that?
That was Shannon O'Neill.
Okay,
yeah, I was. I think I had like submitted to audition for Mod, which are the sketch teams, but I had never, I had never performed at UCB, so I didn't even get an audition in the outside, and so I ended up submitting a show as it's called Spank, which is like an audition show basically. And it was a solo show, just a character show, half-hour show.
Which sidebar I love. And I think more comedy clubs should do more. And I recommend UCB should even do more. More of the style of Spank.
Yes.
More opportunities.
Yeah. Auditioning show kind of thing. Yeah. And you could have a wide variety of shows. And so I did that, and then I got that picked up, she found me after the show and was like, I want to offer you a run. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is such a different way to do it. Because I kind of always assumed the only way to get on stage is to get on a team. And there are a lot of other ways. And so I'm trying to make that known in my role now here in LA that like you do not have to audition and get on Herald to be able to be a performer at UCB. Like there are so many other ways to be involved, and there's so many talented people that don't get on teams that it might not be right for that, or it's just there's not space in that particular world. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't absolutely have a spot at UCB or be able to perform. And that's why I love it.
Yeah. I think it's much more fair than the audition format.
Yeah.
But I do think it's probably, I've never put up a Spank show in all honesty, but I feel like it's probably
and
harder.
I never will.
Never.
I would never subject myself
consider
to that. Oh my God.
But I think, I'm going to be candid with you for a second.
Please do.
I think it's well known that the audition process is flawed.
It's Very flawed. I totally agree. I agree with that. It's so hard. I mean, when you have that many people who are auditioning, and even there, like for Harold, it's upwards of 700 people. These are all people who had to already meet the requirements to even be able to audition.
Right.
And so, we're already spreading that out for the first round within 5 days. And those are like 5 very full days of seeing people in, as quickly as we can while still giving them the opportunity to actually show what they can do as an improviser. It's incredibly flawed. Like I would love to find better ways, but at this point, it's if you want to audition for a team, it's really hard to figure out how to have the most equitable way to do it, and that's why I really do want, for people to understand that like there's so many other ways to get on stage, and you don't, a lot of the people that like certainly, even just as the director of like the character team and that kind of being the track that I took, I know people so much better through that. And a lot of those people had auditioned for Harold or Maude and didn't make it. And that's, obviously another form of audition, but another kind of comedy. And, so I really am encouraging people to be like, it doesn't have to be that. It wasn't for me. And then I did end up getting on teams and I did end up doing all those other things. But yeah, I had to do my own thing first. And yeah.
Yeah. At my live podcast, Lindsay Kraft, the actor, talked about how she just so desperately wanted to get on a team and she couldn't even do it. Yeah. A lot of people experience that. My experience, and this was well before your time, was that I was consistently... Here goes the confidence that I've never earned in my life. But I was consistently good in class. Yeah. And then to go to this audition where none of the judges know me, it's just like that. Yeah. It doesn't even seem like I have a chance.
Totally. And like it's so easy to have a not so great improv set one set. Like, are you kidding me? Like you could do, and it's just such a nerve-wracking environment. Like I felt that so much in those first few days when I was in this role where I was like, this is so hard. Yeah. Like especially improv. It's so hard. It's a little different with sketch and character because like you are preparing your own material. Yeah. But
and improv so synergy and knowing your partners, and then you're rammed with this random group.
Yeah, you're thrown in with someone who might like not be very good themselves. It's just so hard. So yeah,
how do we improve that? Can we improve that? Are you interested in improving it?
I am definitely interested in improving it. But yeah, I'm open to everything.
I think you just. You know how for mess hall you take teacher referrals for those auditions? I think it's got to be something more in line with that.
Well, we do a lot of that too. I mean, the committee that we have in the room, I certainly wasn't watching those auditions by myself. There were upwards of 20 people in the room at any time. Those are all people who are actively involved as coaches, directors, teachers, instructors, so like they are like, there were very few people that came in that no one had ever seen before. Because you have to, just to meet the requirements to be able to audition, you have to have been in front of a lot of these people already. So especially like by the end and you're in deliberations, like there's a lot more that goes into it than just like, this was that one scene that he just did in his second callback. Right. It's like, I've been working with this person. He's been doing boot camp for 4 years. He's really good. He's really improved a lot this year. I think he's ready, something like that. Or this person is really close, but probably not ready now, but let's do mess hall again or something like that, So we do have a lot of other people chiming in on it.
How heated do those delibs get?
A little bit. I mean, again, this is my first time being in the room this past year for it. So,
are there people like arguing over people though? Or
not
I would assume there's people that are very passionate about somebody
for wanting.
But does it get to the point where it's like, no, this person I disagree, and yes.
Of course. I mean, because humor is subjective, and like it's hilarious when you'll see someone, especially for like characters or mod or something where someone's bringing in prepared material, like. There are certainly things that certain people will find funny and others will not find funny at all. And like we'll do, you do sort of like you hold up the headshot after and you kind of, you say like, yes, I like this person. And then, yeah, it's just really interesting to be like, there's half the people here did not find that funny at all. And half of us were dying.
Yeah.
It's subjective.
But that's the beauty of your role. You get ultimate say. You're just like
decide.
Wrong, right. You're the judge, Junior.
I respect your opinion, and it's wrong.